this knife.
He's gonna cut himself.
What's up, guys? Max here for Destructoid, and I'm with Jonathan, who's the creative director for Watchdogs. What took so long?
It's a hard game to build, I guess. I think that in the last 6 months, what we did is refine what I would call the systemic structure of the game. Like we always promised the Watchdogs where a player can express themselves the way they want. And hacking is a brand new language for a player to use, at least in the way we've executed in the game. So we wanted to make sure that players could dig into hacking and combine the different tools and never have the game fail as a response. So we had sometimes certain flaws in there, so we wanted to take the time to fix them. So it was more like looking at some of the flaws, which were really deep, rare for some players to find, but was enough for us to say, let's step back, define a quality plan. Then we did 2 sprints of work, which for the language means five weeks of work or so. When we sat back to the table, we realized that that was pretty much gone, and that now we had the Watchdogs we wanted, which means we could both start to talk about a new date, which became May 27th, and also start full debug, which means not changing the content and the tuning of the game, but more like simply focusing on making sure that it's bug-free, or at least it gets close to that.
Well, that's totally okay. It's good to have a polished game, even though I forgive you for putting that dust on my PS4. It's nice to have something that is going to work. Now, the game itself, I saw this at the reveal at E3, which is almost 2 years ago, and it was one of those things where we all kind of sat there like, how is this going to work? How is this crazy, giant, ambitious, hack everything around you kind of game going to work? And sitting down and actually playing it, it feels a little bit like kind of Grand Theft Auto, except instead of car theft, it's identity theft, and then there's a little bit of Far Cry 3 in there, and then a little bit of Home Alone. You kind of got booby traps, and all of this comes together rather amazingly seamlessly. And then there's still stuff that I didn't even know about. We saw a batch of screenshots a while ago. There was a big robot spider. Can you tell us about the robot spider?
I can tell about the robot spider. Like it's actually, we're making a game that focuses on a drama story. So there is a serious tone to Watchdogs. And I'm a big fan of having quick fun and sometimes generating some laughs out of open world game as well. But we didn't want to break the elegance of the tone in the game and everything. So we had to find nice ways for the player to trigger a break from that. Digital trips is such a way of doing it. So it's like weird noise you can put to your brain. It creates hallucination. It's actually based on a principle that exists in real life. How weird does that sound? We just pushed it a bit to 11 by saying that you can hallucinate like being in a city with a gigantic spider and then start controlling it and killing everybody. Or we have the other one called Madness, where it's pretty much like a driving fest where you hit people and kill them to get some soul points and then like do those kinds of stuff. So just ways to extrapolate what we know we are and then put it to 11. Like, so nods to Cyberpunk stuff, nods to back story of the industry into what was an open city game a very long time ago. So those kinds of things, which I think are nice observations from the past.
Well, it's good. It avoids that ludonarrative dissonance, as it were. One thing it's interesting is that Watch Dogs, obviously a very online-oriented game, but just in the plot, and then you've also got seamless multiplayer. Is that right? How does the internet actually work with the fake internet of the game itself?
It's basically always simulating that everybody is connected. Like we kind of had the luxury with a concept like that to take internet and make it a one-to-one metaphor in the game instead of trying to justify some online features. That was one of our big deal when we started Watch Dogs, was to try and embrace this idea that everybody's connected in real life. We had kind of weird observations where I think for some time we kind of tossed aside the word game from game design and focused more on design, where we looked at people themselves that would use the game in the end. And we realized that a lot of people were intimidated by lobbies and stuff like that, and especially players that plays open world game and action adventure and stuff like that. But ironically, you look at those same people talking to you and they have a phone on the table and they're beyond connected and beyond online in their real lives. So we realized maybe we could inspire ourselves with the easy of access of that and bring that back to the game, which would feel natural for them because suddenly we're not trying to make seamless online just for the sake of making it. It's a point in the game, it's a thematic. So now you can wander around in a city, and how it works is you are a candidate to be matchmake at all time.
Well, damn. Moving back to the kind of narrative side of things, we've got Aiden Pierce, who's this kind of new vigilante anti-hero. And just recently we saw a little blurb in the Season Pass DLC that there's going to be a different protagonist. Can you talk to that at all?
We are like definitely doing a season pass and DLC stuff in the future, but the information on that like is gonna come a bit later on. Like we're not giving all the information on that yet.
Okay, fair enough. I remember seeing in an interview, one of the big, powerful Ubisoft guys was pointing out that if you're going to spend this much time developing a game, it is not going to be one game, it is going to be a franchise. Do you see Watchdogs kind of evolving with the technology?
Well, we definitely did make Watchdogs as an evolution with technology. As for the future of the brand, I think for me, it becomes a brand when there's a game and there's players that likes the game. So I'm still like, saying I'm focusing on Watch Dogs the game. The great thing about this statement of Ubisoft is that they will always encourage us to make something that's brand worthy. And the way I see it is what makes a game brand worthy is what makes a great game. So to me, it's fine. Like I can go and say, I make an open world game. That means it needs to be an open world game with not a single story. You don't want the player to feel like everybody's talking about CTOS on the streets. You don't want to feel neither that everybody's related to Aiden Pierce, or else it feels fake. It feels almost like an Hollywood set more than it is an open world. So it gives us the same leverage to say, yes, they are unanswered questions overall in the universe. Yes, there are a lot of characters that you will get a glimpse at, but you will not fully comprehend them in a binary way, because we are going more realistic on the whole feel of it. So if players tells us that they love Watch Dogs, that it tells us that they want more of that things, there's definitely many levers, including technology in real life, the relevance of the subjects, to go further in the future.
Right on. Well, we've got about a month until the game comes out. People are probably chomping at the bit, waiting to play this. It's been kind of a long wait. Do you have any recommendations, sort of, pop culture, TV, movies, other games that you would recommend people go and check out to kind of, whet their appetite?
I would more say like watch the news and dig on the web, because that's pretty much what the inspirations for our game was. I heard everything, in the way people describe Watch Dogs, especially since E3 2012. I heard people say Cyberpunk extravaganza. I heard people talk about references to 1960s and 70s sci-fi books, relevant contemporary world. I think in the end, the reason why people are coming from such different directions is they're all talking about different form of entertainment that explore the idea of evolution and what it does to our society. I think that's really where we tried to go. So there are elements of cyberpunk, but the elements of cyberpunk comes from the fact that it's like reality's catching up with the cyberpunk movement and those kinds of elements. So in the end, if you watch the news, if you read the Snowden, if you read we even had Art Lead last week that happened a lot in our corner of the world. So those elements seems to never stop happening because of the relevance of the experience. So I think in the end, that's really where you need to go to have a good sense of what the game is.
What about the movie Hackers? Should people watch that?
It's a long one. Hackers, Jesus. That's geek. I really like that movie, but that was a long time ago, in the 80s or the 90s.
It was early 90s.
I like that one. I think it was a bit over the top. We're trying to not, press a button and then almost like the computer would turn into a robot afterwards. But it was a fun movie to watch. I still remember it today. I don't think it's a reference for Watch Dogs.
Yeah, watching the news will probably be a little bit more beneficial. Jonathan, thank you so much for talking.
Thanks.
When does Watch Dogs come out? Where can people play it on? How do they get it? What's up with the mobile app? All of those questions at once.
Wow, that's awesome. The game is coming out on May 27th. That's true for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, as well as the next-gen console, PS4, Xbox One, as well as PC. And the mobile app is going to be available at the same time, and it's free on both Android and iOS devices.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Take it easy.